Oh, hello everybody, what is going on? It is I, MonkeyMayCry from MonkeyMayCryTv, and yes, I have been playing a lot of Apex lately, probably just like everybody, and I've seen quite a few tips videos out there, but I just don't feel like they're doing the game justice. Yeah, they tell you that you can peek over a ledge, and yes, they tell you can climb into a tree, but I don't think these tips truly help you become a better player and improve your game like a tips and tricks video should. So this video, I'm going to give you some real pro tips that is going to help improve your game and make you a better player. So by now, I think most people know how the thrusters work and how to travel the furthest or how to get down the quickest. And if you haven't, we're going to quickly go over it here. But I'm going to give you reasons that why you should do it and maybe reasons that why you shouldn't be doing it. You know, I always land down in the blue zone to get that good loot. I always land at the dropship to try and have a fun time because that's the type of player I am. But if you're not an aggressive player and you're a very passive player, then maybe you don't need to use these thrusters to get the advantage on other people. Maybe you're going to wait for other people to land down and then you're going to pick somewhere that's nice and quiet and you've got enough time to grab your loot and grab a high ground. So know what type of player you are before you even start implementing these tips. So as I previously said, I always go for high tier loot. I always land in the blue zone and I'm always trying to get good gear straight off from the start. It is very competitive. You can have a lot of people land down in the same area, but that's just where I play my game. If you're playing it a little bit different, then maybe you shouldn't do that and maybe you shouldn't go for these high loot areas. But there are still many areas in the game that are for a lot of buildings that you can grab some nice loot. So find a place that works for you. Find a place that maybe doesn't have too many enemies or just one squad that's going to land down, and get used to landing in that area and know where it is. So every time you walk out, you can have a decent amount of loot at the start and you're ready to bump into other squads. So far, I've only really touched on sort of game awareness and I haven't really talked about any tips about Apex yet. I will be moving on to that. I'm just going to have this one final one, and that is make sure you have the sweet spot with sensitivity and field of view. So your field of view can be maxed out on this game at 110 and you'll notice you get a lot more peripheral vision. You'll be able to see a little bit more to the left, to the right and on the ground. I found out this helps me. Mine's currently on 100. I did play it a little bit on 110, but I found I kept on missing a couple of those headshots when I needed to get them. So I turned it down to 100 and I think my sense is on around 6. Find that sweet spot, practice with it, don't mess around with it too much. If you find you're still missing shots here and there and everywhere and you can't control it, maybe turn it down a little bit, but don't mess around with it too much because you need your brain to get used to how far you have to travel with your thumbstick or with your mouse or so on and so forth. So when you play Apex, you'll notice it's a very quick game. If you've got someone sliding down the hill or somebody jumping on a zip line or someone falling from the sky or someone taking a zip line up in the air, you'll notice a lot of time you tend to miss these shots. And the reason because of this is the bullet delay is quite different in this game compared to most. You will have to practice landing these shots and you have to try and take them as many as you can to get practice in. If you don't shoot at people on a zip line enough, you're never going to know how far ahead you have to shoot them. Have a little practice, have some fun, go for those crazy shots maybe you wouldn't in other games, and then once you start hitting them, you'll notice in the future you'll start hitting them over and over and over again. So one of the big factors that I think makes Apex Legends such a really good game is its team mechanics. Never have I played a game where I've never had to speak to anyone on my team and yet they still understood every step I was going to make just by using that ping locator, tagging enemies, tagging items, and letting people know what I wanted them to do. It's a very good system, and even if someone doesn't understand what you're trying to say, you can always hold down the touchpad, type, and then this weird little voice will then speak to them. It's kind of creepy.
MMCTV says, "Hey, my dudes."
So what makes this game so great is the character choice. No matter what type of character you're going to pick, they have some kind of advantage that they can give to the team. So I like to play Wraith, and I only really play Wraith. So whenever someone takes Wraith, I'm in a bit of a pickle. So what I like to do before the game even starts, when it's on the character select screen, I just hover my icon over Wraith. That way, if the two other people on my team are very considerate, maybe they won't take Wraith from me and maybe we'll have a chance at winning. But if I have to go and play Gibraltar, we're probably not going to win because I'm not used to him. Which kind of brings me to another tip. At least have two characters that you are good with, and I mean that a lot. Try and have a second. So I've checked out some other tips and tricks videos, and what I keep finding is every now and then people will talk about how the damage stacks and if you want to change it to floating. I suggest leaving it as it is and leave it as stacked, because when you shoot an enemy with a shotgun and it's on floating and you hit them with 5 pellets, it's going to pop up 15 5 times. Or if you hit them with 4 pellets, it's going to pop up 15 4 times. And if you're a superhuman calculator, maybe you'll be able to work this out real quick along with the other shots that you put on top, and you'll know how much life they have left. If you're not a superhuman calculator, at least with stacked, you'll be able to hit them with as many shots as you have, and you'll get a good gauge at how much life they have left. So maybe you've been playing Apex for a little bit of time now, and maybe you know what guns are your favorite and the guns that you're more likely to pick up. After knowing this information, it's very crucial that when you land down, you have these sets in mind. So I always like to rock the wingman, and I always like to rock the shotgun. So what I'm going to do is, as I'm running around, if I see any special attachments for my wingman, a heavy mag, I'm going to pick it up even if I don't have the wingman. I'm always going to pick up heavy bullets, and I'm always going to pick up shotgun shells. So once you know what type of weapon you like, you don't need to pick up those energy guns or the energy weapons, because you know you won't use them, but you can always plan ahead for the weapons that you will grab, and maybe you'll pick up that shotgun stock even if you don't have a shotgun. So when you do finally pick up something that you don't want, you can pop up in your inventory, you'll see the little red marker on it, you can throw it down straight away. I picked up things that I don't need and then forgot to throw them away. Then later on, I'm in the middle of a firefight, I'm trying to loot a chest, and my inventory is full, and it takes just that little bit of time to switch it out and throw things away. So make sure you keep your inventory nice and clean, and you only pick up the stuff that you're going to use. So you probably already know that Lifeline has a special ability where she calls in a care package, and also you probably know that care packages fall down at random intervals some places on the map. But what you probably didn't know is you can tell these apart by these little blue circles that appear on the map. If you see these little blue circles pinging around, you know that it's not going to be in enemies. If you see a care package come down and there is no blue thingies, then you know that Lifeline is over there and you should go and steal her loot. If you've been playing Apex and you've been jumping around from a couple of different characters, you'll probably notice that they all move at the same speeds, they all can climb the same height, and they can all pretty much do the same things other than the fact of their special abilities. But what you probably didn't know is that they all have different hitboxes. When you look at Wraith, when she's sprinting, she actually does like a funny little Naruto run, which gives her a really small hitbox, so she's hard to hit. If you're playing someone like Gibraltar, who's a very big tubby dude, then more than likely, if someone's shooting at you, you're going to take a lot of those bullets. So bear that in mind when you're in a firefight. Maybe don't put yourself too close if you're Gibraltar. Maybe play at a distance and play it a little bit safe. And also bear in mind, if you are a Wraith or a small character like Mirage, you can charge enemies and weave in and out of their bullets, and they'll probably miss most of them. So one of my favorite things about Apex is probably the door mechanics, and it sounds a little bit funny saying that one of my favorite things is door mechanics, but there are so much strategies you can use just using these doors. If you are downed and you crawl up to a door and the enemy's trying to get in, well, they can't get in because your body is in the way. Meanwhile, you can also open and close doors, so you can do really funny shenanigans like what's probably happening on the screen right now of me debating some dude. Also, if it's happening vice versa and somebody else is blocking the door on you, don't forget all it takes is 2 melee hits to kick a door off its hinges, and you can go in there and you can murder them. Caustics, gas canisters or gas bombs or whatever they're called, I don't actually know what they're called, they can also block doors as well, and so can death crates. So use that to your advantage, and hopefully you can get the drop on the enemy or stop them getting the drop on you and give you crucial time to be able to heal. God, I can't speak right now. So you've probably bumped into a couple of golden weapons, a couple of items, and maybe you haven't read what it says before picking them up. I urge you all to know what all these pieces do, what all their perks are, and what advantages you or your team could get from them. So bearing in mind, if you pick up a golden helmet, a golden shield, or a golden knockdown shield, they do the same regular damage reduction as the purple, except for this time they come with a little bit of a perk. Maybe it's going to be useful for you, maybe it will be useful for somebody else on your squad, in which case give it a ping and let them use it. For instance, if you find the helmet, what it does is it gives you a bonus to have ultimate charge a little bit quicker. So what you'd want to do for that is give it to someone who has a really useful ultra for the team. Maybe give it to Lifeline so she can call in care packages a little bit quicker. If you have a body shield, what you can do with that, it fully regenerates shield when you get someone that's knocked down. Give it to someone who's very rush down heavy, someone that's going to go in there first with a shotgun and down someone quick, because if they've taken damage, they can kill that person with the knockdown and then get the full benefits from it. So bear this in mind when you find these items. Don't just steal them straight away. Think about the team. So although all the weapon pieces and armors and knockdown shields have these special perks, when you pick up a golden weapon, it doesn't have any damage multipliers and it doesn't come with any perks, but what it does come with is the ability to not have to find any attachments for it. When I use the wingman, it takes quite a while sometimes to be able to find a purple extended mag, so I have those 12 bullets. When you find a golden one, I have the increased headshot damage on it, and I have the extended mag, which is really, really nice. The only difference with these golden weapons is you can't remove attachments, so if there's a scope on one of these golden weapons and you don't like it, unfortunately you won't be able to remove it, so bear that in mind when picking it up. If you do manage to find a golden scope in one of these crates or anywhere on the map, just let it be known that you can see enemies through smoke. So if Bangalore is throwing down some smoke and you have this golden attachment, you can see straight through it. If Caustic is throwing down a gas canister and he's hiding inside of his gas, you can see straight through it and shoot him down. I think what's really awesome about this game is the mechanic of even if someone gets downed and killed, you still have the chance to go and bring them back. So regardless if the enemy is really bloodthirsty, it doesn't really matter as long as you've got the skill to kill the enemies and grab the tags or just retrieve them and be really sneaky about it. What you probably didn't know is if both of your teammates go down, you can pick up both their tags and bring them back in on the same dropship, which is really, really nice. Also, you can find strategies that you can use, whereas if somebody is going to go and retrieve the tag, the other person can go and wait by the respawn point and bring him back in. Many a times I found myself running into the storm even after the tag has been left there for a while, just to go and retrieve it and bring him back. People like Wraith and people like Bloodhound have a special ability which increases their movement speed, so use it as your advantage if you are using those characters, and the storm can be your friend. If you're ever in a sticky position and you are cornered, don't be afraid to go and run through that storm to get a better position and to go and hide and heal up and come back. So it's very fun and rewarding in this game to try out all the characters. Even if you know you're never going to play them for too long, it's always good to know what they're able to do. For instance, if you play Wrath, you'll know that if someone looks at you, it will have a little icon that pops up that says someone is targeting me. So if you ever see a Wrath, maybe don't aim at her because she's going to know that you're looking and she might start dodging other ways. Final example is Bangalore. If you're Bangalore and you've taken some damage and you need to hide and heal up, even while you're healing, you can still shoot out those smoke canisters that she has to conceal your little hiding place while you heal up and then escape. So if you've been playing this game for any amount of time, you'll know that your character moves in a good momentum to whichever way they are moving at the time. So if you jump back and you hold that slide, you will slide backwards. You can do this in any direction and you can use it to escape harm. If you walk past a building and you hear a little funny robot noise, it's not that happy little robot. Odds are it's going to be a little robot device that you can punch and get good loot from it. So if you ever hear that little robot noise, have a little search for it and you might get something that you need. If at any point you bump into one of Caustic's traps, all you have to do is shoot the bottom of it to deactivate. If you are currently running from the storm or running from some enemies and need to pop up the map to see where to go, once you've popped up the map, even if you're moving forward, you can let go of the W key or let go of moving forward on the left analog stick and your character will still continue to run forward. And the last and final tip is the Mozambique is probably the best gun in the game. If you ever see this weapon, don't forget to pick it up and don't forget to praise the Mozambique gods. Yeah, no, I was just kidding. It's literally the worst gun in the game, like by far. And that's going to be the end of the video, guys. I do have a lot more to go through. A lot of it's very character specific tips, and I didn't want to spend too much time on that if people didn't use certain characters, but I do have a plan to bring these out. I'm going to make a video and tips for each of the characters, so if you do like what you see and you do have a character, I will eventually do a tutorial for them and give you some pro, cons and tips of why you should use that character or why you shouldn't use that character. I'm MonkeyMayCry, it's been MonkeyMayCryTv. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and all of that fun stuff. Peace out! The Mozambique.
MonkeyMayCryTv says, this message was brought to you by MMCTV.